Hello and welcome to part 3 of how to make the Converse style slipper or shoe, whichever one you're going to be making. I've got both of mine done with my little lilac pieces, and so what we're going to do is, now they're finished, we're going to put those to one side and we're going to be working on the tongue area. Now, I have a few little tips on this just to make life go a little bit easier. So, really sorry, I've got a tickly throat now. Right, so what we're going to do is we're going to make the loop to cast on onto our hook, and we're going to chain 2. So that's 1, 2. Into the second chain from the hook we need to work 3 single crochet. So that's 1, 2 and 3. Chain 1, turn, and now we need to work 2 single crochet in each stitch, so we end up with 6. So I like to actually count as I go along. So that's 1, 2, making sure we go underneath both loops, 3, 4, and into that last area there. I know on these smaller things it's a little bit more fiddly. 5, 6, and for row 3 it's chain 1, turn. Now we need a total of 14 stitches. I know I told you to mark the area as 12. The reason why we need 14 is because we're actually going to work into that same stitch as well later on. So let me just get that back. I did the chain 1 and I've turned. Now we need to work 3 single crochet in the first one, 2 in each of the next, and then 3 in the end. So we end up with a total of 14, and like I said, I like to count as I go along. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and making sure we're still underneath 2 loops in this last one there, which is a little bit fiddly. 12, 13 and 14. Now I found to get the nice neat edge across there, if we actually work our white across here first, it becomes a neat edge. So what we want to do is, the original tail we cast on, we want to pull that tight now, and then when we actually look at the actual piece that we've got in our hands, I'm just going to pull my hook out just to explain this and show this. These holes here are formed from this last round that we've made, and then you've got these 3 holes here in the centre. We're not going to work in the casting on space there, we're going to work into the other ones. So we want to do 2 in each space, so that's 1, 2, and we're going to go over this casting on bit and into that loop there, that hole there, sorry. So that's another 2 in this. So we've got, whoops, catch the arm. So we've got 4, and then we're going to go into this stitch here, 5, 6, and then we're going to slip stitch into the single crochet that was done on when we went around in the curve. I hope that that's clear. I've tried to write it as best as I can in my pattern. So we end up with this little shape here. Now this piece we actually want to be able to attach to the actual base work. So we're going to leave an extra long tail so that we've got enough yarn to be able to work with to be able to join that on. And then we're going to pull this, she said if I can do it, I've got myself tangled up at the back there. I'm going to pull this one, this very long tail, all the way through. Okay, now I've already made my other one, and I like to put my two together and make sure that they are looking the same, because sometimes when you do your stitching you end up with your holes are slightly different, so I like to make sure that they're looking, as long as they're looking reasonably good and they're about the same. To be fair, I think that one actually looks a little bit neater than the one I've just done, but I'm going to have to go with the flow with things. So I'm going to put that other one to one side, and then I'm going to make sure the tails are out of the way. And then I'm going to get the main body colour again, which is this lilac that I've chosen. Now this one, what we're going to do is we're going to, if I get one of my slippers, we're going to leave an extra area so we can do this slip stitching around the edge, because when you make the tongue it makes a wibbly wobbly edge, so we want to leave an extra long tail for this one and then do the magic loop. It doesn't matter if you leave your tails too long, because you can always cut them down. It's better to have too much than not enough. Now we want to work in 6 stitches across this straight edge. And the easiest way to do this is to count backwards, so we don't use the slip stitch stitches as a count. We don't count that, so we count from the next one along. So we go 1, 2, 3. I can't see the lights now. My light's not very good with the angle that I'm looking. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 stitches away, and we're going to cast on with a single crochet again. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Yes, we're not using that slip stitch area. Chain 1, turn, and single crochet in each stitch, so we still have 6 stitches. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and working into that casting on stitch there is 6. That's 2 rows. Chain 1, turn, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Chain 1. Oh, I'm getting all tangled up. See, this is one of the things with all these tails. I'm sorry, but you start sewing the tails in a minute. So I've done my chain 1, turn. If you get interrupted like I've just done now, when you go backwards and forwards each time, you'll find that the even rows end up finishing on the same side as the casting on tail. So that's round row 4. Chain 1, do 1 in each one again, so this is row 5, so that's 2 stitches, 3, 4, 5 and 6. And the last row, because we're only doing 6 rows of 6, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. This one we just cut off with a normal little tail. We don't need the extra long tail there. Whoops, daisy. Now, so now what we need to do is because this is where we cast on, we need to turn it over. So we've got our right side and our wrong side. If we look at the toe stitch in there, you can see that this is the wrong side and that's the right side. So what we're going to do now is we're going to get this long tail, we're going to get our hook, where we actually cast on, pull that nice and tight there, so we've not got, I'm going to put the hook through there and catch hold of the yarn and pull it up, and then we're going to slip stitch up. Now because this is actually row 1, it's only going to be 5 stitches up, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and this bit where we ended is number 5. Make sure you don't get your tails muddled up and start using the wrong tail. So that one's number 5. Now we're going to go across, which is all, because that's already in the beginning stitch, was also 5. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. And now we're going to go back down the opposite side. 1, 2, 3, whoopsie-daisy, 4, and just through the 2 loops there, 5, and then we can pull this through. Okay, so that's it. So that just neatens up the edge there. When you actually pull this stitch there, that just tidies up that corner. And I'm going to get my needle. I'm going to show you how to sew in all of these tails so that it's all nice and neat. Now I don't need all of this extra length now because I'm sewing in, so I'm going to just cut off a little bit of it and leave me with a normal length, or what I consider to be normal length tails to be sewing in. And I'm going to go back through there. Oopsie-daisy. And when I pull that through there, that's just going to neaten up that edge there, so that's nice and neat that side. So into the back of it, what I'm going to do is I'm going to work across this row of stitching here and tuck in the yarn. Check on the opposite side. We don't want to have a huge big stitch on the opposite side because that's going to be the front of the tongue, and we want our work to look as neat as possible. So just come through there, move that tail, and I come back upon myself again just to make sure that this is not going to come undone easily. We want it to be as long lasting as possible. But to be fair, a little baby is not going to wear these for very long because they're soon going to grow. But they're going to be on and off and on and off, and if you're making them for a child who's using them on a doll, or therefore somebody that has those reborn babies, then you want them to be as long lasting as possible. I've just thought that I never said at my beginning of my video what kind of yarn I'm using. This particular lilac colour that I'm using is actually it's actually just a cheap brand of yarn. It's actually thinner, even though it still says it's a double knitting. It's actually a thinner one. Right, so we need to leave the really long tail, and we're just going to sew in the smaller tail into, making sure that we're doing into the back of the slipper, into the tongue. Well, that's the actual toe part of the tongue. Just make sure that's all nice and neat into there. Oopsie-daisy. There. And I'm just going to come back upon myself just because I like to be extra secure and safe with all of my yarns. There's nothing worse than your work coming undone and people saying, oh, it fell undone. Anyway, so there we have it. That is our tongue. If I turn it this way round, I personally think it looks like a pepper pot. So I'm going to end this video here. I'm going to go off and I'm going to go and add on the lilac to my other tongue so that I've got my pair, because like I said, it really is best to work in pairs, because then just that much closer to being finished. Okay, so thank you for watching, thank you for liking, thank you for subscribing, and thank you for all your lovely comments, and I will see you in part 4. Now part 4 video is actually going to be longer than all of the other ones, because we're actually going to attach the tongue to the shoe. I'm going to do the sewing as well for this work here, and I'm going to add the sole. And because this well, it's repetition work, I suppose, and there's a lot of sewing, and I'm also decided that that's the video that I'm going to give you some history on the Converse, and well, hopefully you'll join me in that one. If you think you know what you're doing now and you don't need any more to watch any more videos, then thank you for watching all of my videos that you've watched so far. I hope you come back to see the other sizes, because I will be putting up the 4-inch sole, and from the 4-inch sole, the pattern, I've discovered a nice way of showing how to increase and also to make extra width, so you can do for the wider fitting foot. Okay, thanks again, bye for now.